What's the most ridiculous commute your job ever forced you to make? Back in early 2018, the UK was swallowed by the cold spell everyone called the Beast from the East. Snow piled up overnight, roads disappeared under ice, and the entire public transport network reacted exactly how you'd expect: complete chaos. I worked on an IT service desk at the time, which meant answering calls, helping people remotely, and only going to desks in person when absolutely necessary. Our team already had a system. Someone handled desk-side work while everyone else stayed on calls. A few days before the storm hit, I warned my manager that several of us lived in areas that were about to get buried. I suggested we test our home setups, just in case we needed to support the company remotely. She agreed, and sure enough, when Monday came, the world outside my window looked like a freezer door left open overnight. I called my manager that morning. The roads were a mess, the trains were even worse, and I wasn't about to skid my way to the station just to find everything cancelled. She told me to log in from home. Simple, safe, and completely effective. The people who lived in central London covered desk-side calls while the rest of us handled phone support. It was efficient, calm, and surprisingly smooth, probably the smoothest week we'd ever had as a team. Tuesday and Wednesday went the same way. Everyone in the office seemed pleased. The only person who wasn't was the head of IT. Rumors started floating around that he didn't like the idea of some of us getting to work from home. I kept my head down and kept working, hoping that common sense would win. By Thursday morning, the trains claimed to be running more frequently, which in British winter language means slightly less terrible than yesterday. The roads around my house were still covered in compacted snow and slush. I called my manager again and asked if she wanted me on remote support. She said yes, without hesitation. I logged in early, answered calls, and genuinely tried to make her life easier. But around 9 a.m., the phone rang again. This time, her voice was tense. "You need to come in," she said. "Head of IT decided if he can make it in, everyone can. If you can't, you have to take today as holiday." I knew exactly how unfair that was, especially since our work was being handled perfectly from home. Some of my coworkers who lived even farther out just gave up and took holiday time. I didn't want to waste mine, so I told her I'd come in, even though she knew exactly how long that journey was going to take. I logged out at 9:15, threw on layers of clothes, and stepped into the frozen morning. My car looked like an igloo. I spent a good half hour clearing snow from the roof, the windows, the mirrors, everything. Then I let the engine run for a while to warm up. No point pushing a cold engine right into the deep end. By 9:45, I was on the road, or rather, crawling on the road. The normally 15-minute trip to the station turned into an hour of slow sliding, slipping, and navigating around stuck cars. When I finally got close, the side streets were even worse, so I parked in the safest spot I could find and walked the rest. The walk was no easier. Even with heavy boots, every step felt like a gamble. By the time I reached the station at 11:30, I felt like I'd already done a whole shift. The station staff told me the next train was nowhere in sight, so I sat on a bench, pulled out the thermos I'd packed, and waited. A train finally appeared at 1 p.m. The driver apologized, warned us we were in for a long ride, and he wasn't joking. What's normally a 45-minute trip stretched into more than 2 hours of slow rolling through a snow-buried rail network. I stepped off the train around 3:30, turned the corner to my office, and walked in at 3:45. My coworkers burst out laughing the second I arrived. My manager gave me a sympathetic look. I got myself logged in and then checked the time. 4 p.m. That was my finish time. So I logged out, said goodbye to everyone, and walked right back out of the building. My manager didn't say a word. She already knew how the day was going to end. The head of IT wasn't thrilled, but by the end of the day, my manager had given him a firm reminder that the service desk fell under her management, not his. On Friday, we were all allowed to work from home again. The coworkers who took holiday got their time back, and I spent the entire evening fighting through thousands of people trying to get home from London. By the time I walked through my front door, it was nearly 10 p.m., and I had spent more time traveling than actually working.